Welcome to Heber Valley Life podcast. I'm Rachel Kahler, director of the Community Alliance for Main Street. We are here in the Gordon Law Group office. I'm so grateful to have Kristy Bond with us today. Kristy has been really a mentor of mine. We've been talking about kind of all the things that we have done together. One thing I'm most impressed is your chocolatiering. We're not going to get into that too much today, but I'm just so excited to have you here. And I would love you to tell us a little bit about yourself and your family, and both professionally and personally.
Oh, thank you. First of all, thanks, Rachel, for having me. It's a privilege to be with you here today. Uh, we go way back. I was born and raised here in Heber. I'm from a long line of Heberites, so if I sound like a hick, you know why. Uh, uh, so let's see. I born and raised here, graduated from good old Wasatch High. Went to school at BYU, got my nursing degree, Bachelor of Nursing. Worked as a emergency room nurse for about 12 years here locally, and then in Arizona, the Bay Area, while my husband finished his degree. I married a local boy, Joe Bond. He have 4 children, 8 grandchildren now. We just became empty nesters not too long ago, so we're entering a new phase of life. I worked to put my husband through school, but I'm not currently working for pay, unless you count the right treat.
Which is the chocolatiering.
Yeah, it's a caramel apple business. So yeah, thank you.
Well, and I was thinking your youngest is the same age as my oldest.
Right.
And so we kind of had an opportunity to parent a little bit together and have great kids. You have great kids.
Thank you.
So well done there.
Well, right. My mom always said, "What's the use of having kids if they're not an improvement on the old?" So I feel like they're definitely an improvement on me.
I love that.
Thank you.
Well, a couple of things we want to talk about today. As I was thinking about having you on, you really embody the spirit of service. And you say you're not working, and yet you have been very busy in the last 10 years or so. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about was your work at the Heber Valley Girls Camp.
Okay.
And you said you were there 5 years as the Young Women's Camp Director, which that's a big calling. And I mentioned earlier, did you even know what you were getting yourself into when you accepted that calling?
That's a great question. I think I did a little bit. My parents both served up at the Heber Valley Camp before I did, and so I was aware of kind of the scope of the place, the responsibility. My dad, as the county health director, helped make sure that all of their buildings were up to code, helped establish it's a little city up there. I don't know if people are familiar with it, but so I knew the magnitude and the scope of it just because of my parents. And so when I was given that calling, I knew a little bit about what I was getting myself into, but like anything in life, until you jump in with both feet, you don't really realize it became probably an over 40-hour a week job. But it's worth it. That place is amazing.
But it wasn't a job. You weren't paid to do this.
No, I wasn't.
This was all volunteer. Let's talk about a little bit of the details of the camp so that anyone that hasn't been there understands. I had the opportunity a couple weeks ago to go up, and 5,000 girls and leaders come through a week in the summer. So they anticipate about 80,000 people throughout the summer. But it's a year-round facility.
Yes.
So they're there in the winter for winter camps.
Yes, the whole camp isn't open during the winter. We only keep I'm not
A couple of camp. See, you're still doing that. It's still part of who you are.
Yes. It's right. The camp opened in 2003. The church looked for a site. When the Jordanelle was put in, there was a camp there that the church had to sell. Lost because the Jordanelle came in, and so the church looked for some property. Was able to get this property
And President Gordon B. Hinckley really was the instigator of this.
Yes, he had the vision for it. It became, yeah, it's over 8,000 acres. It's a beautiful facility, 8 major campgrounds, 2,400 visitors can be there at a time. Young women now go Monday through Thursday, and then young men groups and families can be there Thursday through Saturday. So that explains the 5,000 a week. But it's like a little city up there. Has it's it's incredible. It's changed lives. It's a place of refuge from the outside world. It's so beautiful, peaceful,
Yeah.
and uh, the purpose of the camp is to help the kids that visit there feel closer to the Savior.
Yeah, I love it. I saw the mission is to provide a place of refuge where youth and families can feel the Spirit of the Lord and deepen their personal relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely agree. It really is the most peaceful place to just be one with nature to find yourself.
It is.
So, what was your role as the director?
So, as the director, I helped train the missionaries. Right now, there are over 250 missionaries that serve there, and so you help them understand the vision and purpose of the camp, help them realize what we're trying to accomplish, and kind of give some guidance and direction there. Also, guidance and direction for the leaders that are bringing their young women up there. This help them realize the opportunity and the special place that it is, and help them catch the vision of what this place can do for their young women. So training them, a lot of training, and then the kind of more of the logistical nuts and bolts of it are managing reservations, and that's a full-time job, answering questions.
And just the logistics of that many people.
Oh,
Be in and out.
but the grounds are maintained, the trails are maintained, the safety of the young women. It's all encompassing. Uh, Nothing like it in the world, but it was a lot of work, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Any particular memories that you have?
So lots. How much time do we have? No. So probably a few that stand out were the relationships that I was able to develop with the committee that I served with. I love those women dearly. They gave their heart and soul to that camp and to those young women.
It's really about people.
It really is about people. Another highlight, serving with the missionaries. They're senior couples. They're there because they love the Lord. They love the young women, and just I've made some lifelong friends through that. Probably another highlight was getting to know Art of Cap.
Just recently passed away.
Yes. So right, a year or so before she passed, we named a pavilion after her, and so I through that process I came to know her, and that was really life changing for me. She's a very special woman.
She embodies the Spirit.
She really does. What a great example that I feel very fortunate that I was able to meet her, and she's a dear friend of mine now. So that was anyway.
I love that. I had an opportunity to go with our girls a couple years ago, and we were sitting around at campfire, singing some campfire songs, and had a gentleman that was playing guitar, and the girls were singing along, and all of a sudden we could hear some noise behind us, and looked back, and a bull moose decided to come and visit us during our sing along. And thankfully, he kind of skirted around the trees, and one of the leaders went out and kind of made sure he didn't come too close. But it was so beautiful
Yeah.
to see that moose just meandering through the meadow, and the girls having that really amazing opportunity. Although some were terrified, I think looking back, a lot of them realized, we got to experience this one-on-one with wildlife. But it was such a serene experience. I really appreciated it. Well, thank you for sharing your time there and your willingness to serve.
It was a privilege. Yeah, I love that.
Well, and Kristy, it's really been amazing to me the different places that you have offered your service. And so I want to pivot a little. One of the things that I have been so impressed with being here in this position is being able to bring people on with Heber Valley Life magazine, who has really focused on people in the community and building up the community. And so we're grateful for Heber Valley Life magazine. I like these folks.
Awesome.
And it really gives us the chance to talk about what it is to be a community. Another place that you have been a long-time volunteer, and I think some of that is because of your interest in nursing, it's with the Heber Valley Hospital and serving on the board of directors. You mentioned 8 years and counting.
I think about that.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us, how did this start? Were you serving at the hospital? Had you worked at the hospital before?
I did. I did as a new grad. I worked at the Heber Valley Hospital back when
The old
olden days,
hospital.
the old hospital before the new beautiful.
Right.
Um, there was an opening on the board, the hospital board, and Hy McNaughton submitted my name
Okay.
as, and so Hy got me into trouble. I just filled out an application and they accepted. I, it's been an interesting process.
Yeah.
I love the hospital. The people that work there have a desire to provide the best quality and best experience for our community. I mean, they're incredible just to see the lengths that they go to assure a great quality, great of care and a good patient experience is pretty remarkable to see. So right now I serve on it's called the Clinical Excellence Committee. So I get to see all of the feedback. I get to see the things that we're measuring and keeping track of. And then I try to be a voice for the community, and report back to the board things I've seen in the community, ways that we can improve. Um, in the olden days when I worked at the hospital, uh, the hospital didn't have the very best reputation. People were like, "Oh, if you get sick, don't go to Hebert."
Because it really was a small
It was such a small.
I had 3 or 4 doctors that were working 24 hours a day. They had the clinic, then they would come to the hospital. And so there was a lot of pressure for them without the resources. I would say it wasn't a personnel issue as much as we didn't have the support for them. And the change, I've been impressed. I didn't know it was just 19 beds. So you look at the services that are offered at Heber Valley Hospital with 19 beds, the staff that is now expanded. I think really was telling when the hospital stepped up to bring the dialysis center. Right. And saw the need in the community, and now stroke center. And we have the capability of treating someone that's had a stroke. What was the case 15 years ago?
Right. It's so true. It's really I hope the community understands we have the best doctors in all the world. They're very skilled. A rural setting, we're still considered a rural hospital. They have to be top notch in their skill. We also, with the new telemedicine, have the ability to care for critically ill patients here in our local hospital.
Not having to translate.
Exactly, we have the resources available now. So I hope people understand that the hospital can give very, very good quality, top-notch care. And not only that, but the people that serve in the hospital, the doctors, nurses, administrators, they care. They really do care. I hope people understand how much they care. They truly are here for the right reasons, and they want to give that personal touch. So I'm proud of our hospital. I'm proud of what they offer and the steps that they're taking to improve their care every single day.
Yeah. But I think the board really does drive that. I mean, I look at the members that are on the board now, and you really are part of the community. You're taking the feedback from the community and implementing programs back into.
We
Or you do, and I appreciate it. So,
sometimes I feel like I'm just there for the.
but also, you've been in the trenches. As an ER
That's
nurse,
true.
you had that firsthand knowledge of, especially trauma care, seeing people at their absolute worst day, and you're there to hopefully bring a better outcome.
And yeah, little things make a big difference. So that's what our hospital tries to do. The little things.
I love it. Well, I want to transition again to again the many roles that you're playing in our community. We are so grateful for the Gordon Law Group for being in this studio, and Corby is a good friend of mine, but also a contributor to the community and giving back. And we're just appreciative, Corbin and the Gordon Law Group.
Get what I do. Thanks, Corbin.
Yeah. So we're going to transition now to a role that I got you in. So the Heber City Historic Preservation Commission, as you mentioned, you're a longtime resident. The Wright family has been part of this valley for a couple decades. The early settlers. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about is preserving some of the historic elements in our community. And so a couple months ago, I reached out to you and said, would you serve on this historic Heber City Historic Preservation Commission, which is new. We're maybe 2 or 3 years in now. What is your involvement? What has your involvement been? And what do you hope to accomplish with this new role of this new volunteer opportunity?
Right. I still feel like I'm getting my feet wet and trying to understand really how I can.
We're making it up as we go.
But I love this valley. I love the people in this valley. I love our heritage, the roots. I think it's so important for us and future generations to understand what established the fabric or the foundation of this valley. It's something I'm pretty passionate about, actually. I respect and love those first settlers so much, and it's important that we remember them. I think they came here looking for a new start, religious freedom. A lot of the early settlers came here from England. I think they had Heber C. Kimball was a missionary there. I think a lot of those people that he converted settled here in the Heber Valley. And that's, I think, why Heber was named after Heber C. Kimball.
Not that he lived here. He wanted to honor.
They wanted to honor him because they loved and respected him so much. And after he found out they were naming this little valley after him, he just said, if you name this valley after me, you just make sure it's a really good place.
Yeah.
Honor my name, basically. And I think those early settlers did a great job of doing that. They loved God and they loved each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's the secret for a happy, beautiful community.
And this wasn't the easy place to establish. I think it's important that people understand there were no permanent inhabitants because the winters were so cold.
Right. They had to rely on each other. They had to serve each other. They had to love each other and help each other out, or they wouldn't. It was a matter of survival. And I think I kind of get chills when I think about it. You can feel what they created. There is a special feeling here in this valley, a feeling of peace, a feeling of love, and a feeling of unity that started with them. And I think as we remember them and try to carry on what they started, that's what makes this community so magnificent. It really is. And so serving on the historical committee to help everybody that moves here or that's interested in learning more about these first ancestors, I think will help continue the legacy that they started.
That's the goal, right?
That is the goal. It is.
To learn about where they came from and what they did.
People know. I think they move here for a reason. Of course, the mountains are so beautiful. Who can beat Mount Timpanogos? It's the most beautiful mountain in the world, in my opinion.
I agree.
But there's a special feeling here as well. I think people are drawn here not only because of the beauty, but because of the feel that is here. And anything we can do to keep that special feeling here, I think is worth the time and the effort.
Totally agree. Are there any current or past projects that you're particularly proud of the Conservation Commission has worked on?
Well, like I said, I'm still kind of getting my feet wet. I love the 100-year celebration that we're making some efforts there. I was able to my assignment was the 80s and 90s.
Which you know well.
Unfortunately, I'm not old.
Yeah, so let's explain the project. Heber 100 Years, you're focusing on 1925 to 2025. We decided to look at each decade and determine what the most important or significant in this committee's mind in those decades. And then we created a photo exhibition that will be at the Wasatch County Library from now until mid-September. But what was really fun is bringing this group together and discussing, well, what was important, right, in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. You had 80s.
80s and
Do you
90s.
remember what we decided to focus on then?
Well, so yeah, the 80s. I the thing that stands out to me, there are two things. One was the flood of 82, where Main Street and First East became a river. So we that was a big deal. And also one that's kind of eclectic, I guess, was the chicken incident where my graduating class, some of my friends had the idea of stealing a chicken from Joanne's. It was a
Yeah, 7, 8 foot meat. I mean, it was big.
big chicken that they on graduation night put on the roof of the high school.
Was it polyester?
It was
Fiberglass.
fiberglass chicken that they hoisted up on the roof of the school and then hung a sign around the next the class of 82. But it was just something funny. It was just harmless fun. But those kind of things that was fun for me to remember and kind of
It's become folklore now.
folklore is exactly that.
Because it was, I remember, I remember seeing it, but now as an adult, learning about who was involved makes it even better. But it was a harmless senior prank that really did kind of encompass a little bit of the nostalgia of Heber.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then back to the flood of 82. I loved reminiscing on that. I remember
It was
going
82, 83.
yeah, somewhere in there. I think it might have been 83.
Yeah, because we had the big storm.
Right.
We had lots of snow that year, right? And then just we didn't have the infrastructure in place to manage it. And so the leaders,
Right.
right? Your uncle might have been involved in that.
Yeah, I remember going out with Kent Berg. He was a director of public works at the time. He had me drive his county truck. So, but I remember driving that truck back and forth as we were filling sandbags. And I remember the community gathering together for that to everybody was in trouble. There was a big flood.
Right. And I don't think a lot of people that hear about this flood realize it was purposely run down Main Street to try and save the homes.
Save the homes of businesses. Yes. But just seeing the community come out in force to help each other, to sandbag, to do whatever they could, there was a sense of energy. And it was really fun to be involved with that. It just shows you the fabric again of our community, how when we rallied around each other to help each other out. And I think it was just an example of what this community is made of. People that love each other, there for each other. They're gonna show up and help.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the feeling I had, that sense of unity. And I was so proud to belong to a community that would rise
Up in the challenge. Exactly. In a natural disaster. Step forward.
Exactly, step forward. It was so yeah, it's fun to look at the pictures of the flood, but the thing that struck me was again just that sense of unity that I felt.
And so fast forward 20 years, I had the opportunity to focus on 2002
Right.
and the Olympics and the volunteerism and how, again, people step forward. We were the host at the Soldier River venue, and just all that took place. We're highlighting Cheryl Hardy. Many people were able to bring the torch down Main Street.
Yeah.
But Cheryl's story particularly touched me because she had a brother that was a ski jumper and passed away. And so she was running in his memory, in his legacy. And so that's, again, it embodies these feelings of not for me, but for somebody else.
Exactly.
And so Cheryl is highlighted. And what's really fun in that span of years was 2 years later, our own Cale Sanderson, who was an amazing wrestler here at Wasatch High School. His dad, Steve Sanderson, his brothers. But Cale went 159-0 in his collegiate experience as a wrestler, went on to win the gold in Greece in 2004. And so you look at these experiences and these people and the impact that they've had in our lives and just how the community has changed. So it has been fun. This Heber City 100 Years Symbol at Act reflect. She members, we probably had the best opportunity to do the research, to find the autos, to find the stories. But now that exhibit will be available at Wasatch County Library for people to come and enjoy.
I encourage everybody to go look at it. It's really encapsulates it in just a few words and a few pictures, a really great history of the valley. It's amazing.
And our hope really is that this is the catalyst to start creating more stories, collecting more stories. And that's the one thing that we want to do with this Historic Preservation Commission is to start putting that preservation in place so that we don't lose the stories, that we keep our old buildings and just keep these memories alive.
Exactly. I do too.
All right. Well, Kristy, you really are the spirit of volunteering. I have a couple of just final questions. Why do you serve? What is it that makes you raise your hand or accept that phone call and say, yes, I'll do that?
That's a great question. And, you know, being my parents and my grandparents set such a great example for me. You know, I was just raised, service is a way of life. And I didn't really realize it. I've just tried to follow in their footsteps, but, and just try to follow their example. But the older I get, the more I realize it's what brings true happiness. I think my mom and dad, I think if I could encapsulate what I was taught, they have a couple of sayings in their home. One is, if you don't like your lot in life, build a service station on it. And the other one is, our happiness isn't dependent on the circumstances of our lives. Our happiness is based on the focus of our lives. So what we focus on. When we focus on God and focus on others, that's the secret of life. I think that's the secret to happiness. So I think in the beginning, I was just following the example of my parents. But as time goes on and I matured a little bit, I realized that serving God, serving others is the secret to happiness. And so it's kind of self-serving, I guess, in a way. But that's what makes me the happiest. I love people. I love to make them happy. I love to make them laugh. That fills my cup. That's what keeps me going. That's what makes me personally feel fulfilled and happy. So I guess that's my motivation.
Last December, you were honored with the Chamber
Oh.
of Commerce Gala, and I remember talking to your parents, and they were so proud. And I think, as a child, that's something that you always want, but you had an opportunity in a very public space, which you were very uncomfortable with. But I think you really have, and you've demonstrated that today, your willingness to serve wherever and whenever you've been asked. I do wonder, though, how do we encourage others, especially young people, to serve? Like, how do we get them out and motivate them to fill these holes, these gaps in our community?
Yeah. Well, I think it starts at home with our own kids, and then with others that we have the opportunity to rub shoulders with. I think the most important thing we can do is just be a good example. And I think as they see the joy that we feel when we serve others and try to do um, our best to help our community, I think that's the key.
Yeah.
Help them see opportunities. A service doesn't have to be a grandiose thing. Even if you can teach them to smile or wave, at somebody, ask somebody how they're doing, make them feel comfortable. It can be as easy as that. It can be pulling weeds for a neighbor. It can just help them recognize things that they can do, help them see things that they can do, and then help them realize the personal joy that you can experience from looking outside of yourself to see how you can make the world a better place.
Kristy, you really are such a light in the community. You really are. Is there anything else as we close? What does it really mean to be a community builder? You really do embody that without trying because you've been willing to take those hard callings and step up to those needs.
Well, you're very kind to say that, but I just think that little things mean a lot. I think ordinary people can do extraordinary things. And I think as we teach our children that, I think that's what builds our community. This community was settled by ordinary people who did extraordinary things. They left us a legacy. They left us this beautiful valley with a beautiful feeling. And any small thing we can do to just help people around us, to build them, to encourage them, to make other people happy, that's what builds the community. And it just we're all ordinary people. And as we just try to use the blessings we've been given, the talents, the abilities we've been given, we're all so different. So it's going to look different for you and me, or, for other people. But as we just do our best to lift and build, that combined aggregate of those small and simple things, that's what builds our community and makes it a better place. And I really, really hope that I can do my part to help build our community and just leave for my grandchildren the same type of a valley that was handed to me. Continue that legacy, continue that, so that they have the opportunity to live in a beautiful place that I have. So
Great words and wisdom. And Kristy, you really are. Wow. And I appreciate the time that we had to talk. I appreciate the opportunity just to really focus on the good. And that's what this podcast is all about, is how can we help each other? I love the idea of it's too small and simple things and just being willing to step up on a daily basis, whether it's a smile or truly leading out. And you have done that to be your example.
thank you. I hope so. I'm trying. I'm not perfect, but I try. Thank you.
You are. And so again, Rachel Kahler with Kristy Bond, and we have had such a lovely discussion. And it really encourages me that we're headed down the right path. So thank you for your leadership.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me today.
So with that, we're going to end Heber Valley Life podcast. We are so grateful again for Corbin, for the Gordon Law Group, Heber Valley Life magazine, for putting us in this position that we can share the good things that are happening here in Heber Valley. So signing off, Rachel and Kristy. Thanks so much.